He raced his way in. And his heat race, all kinds of talent in that one. In fact, I believe Mark Waggy was in his heat race, and we know how good Mark is. Mark is a fantastic driver, and he knows that racetrack probably better than anybody there. And Mark got stuck in the B. Mm-hmm. Mark Waggy in the B main. That one right there was probably the biggest shock of all, given how fast he is. He's had some bad luck. But he's turned that around. And he was in the show for a while. One little slip, and Dubert went by him and put himself into the feature. Had a shot at the big money. Waggy had to work harder to get into race for that money. Top 8 cars ran an 8-car scramble. How you finish is where you started. Inside front row went to Trent Elliott, won his heat race. Landed on the pole. Well, he won the scramble. Landed on the pole. And he showed everybody why he's so fast down there. Mm-hmm.
He didn't make any mistakes.
And when we said that to him, I said, man, the car looked good. I didn't see the car upset. You didn't, and he says, I made a couple mistakes. I said, it certainly didn't show on the track. You couldn't physically see it. I don't know what they were or where they were. I didn't see it. That car was big statement right there. But that is also a track surface that favors Trent Elliott. When you've got a track, I'm going to talk about 2 scenarios here. When you've got a track that is that locked down, hammered down, wicked fast, icky, sticky, gooey, horsepower, or it's rough. When you've got either one of those conditions, that's going to be one of the first guys you're going to bet on. He excels under those conditions. Now you put him on a dry slick track, that's not his forte. You know what I mean? Everybody's got their thing. But it was all, when I saw Trent Elliott win that scramble, even with Bobby Hogue there, who didn't make the scramble, who you knew was starting at least 9th or worse, I thought to myself, these boys are in trouble tonight. These boys are in trouble. We know that 4E. We know how fast he is at that track. Man, oh man, he showed us why. Second spot, Rob Maya. Another guy, you put him on a track that's built about horsepower and manhandling that. Another guy that excels in those kind of conditions. Absolutely. Top 2 drivers on that type of surface. Wasn't any surprise to anybody that knows anything about late models in the Northwest. That wasn't a surprise to anybody. Third spot, Bobby Hogue. In Darren Koffel's car for the first time. Started 12th.
That's crazy.
Started 12th in that feature, guys.
Crazy.
And used 3 or 4 different lines getting up there. He did what he had to do, and at first, I'm not going to lie to you, the first couple of laps, watching how that car was acting, I thought to myself, oh boy, Hogue is in trouble tonight.
I thought the same thing.
I seriously thought he's going to be lucky to finish on the lead lap, given where Trent was and how fast he was, or Rob Maya, how fast he was, those guys in the front row and him starting 12th. After laps 3 or 4, I thought he's going to be lucky to finish on the lead lap. Then he started hunting the track. He went to the high side, and Bobby Hogue started passing cars. When I say high side, he was upstairs, baby. Mm-hmm. He was upstairs, and we saw him pass in the gutter. We saw him pass in 2 lines in between. Now, Joey Tanner's a good friend of Moxie Media Promotions. I'm gonna make my point here about this one lane stuff. Hogue went from the high side out of turn 4 at the white flag and dove that car to the gutter in turn 1 and passed Joey. And that last lap was probably the most exciting lap of the race, watching those 2 guys race each other. And Hogue had, he had some challenges coming through. But when he got to those top 3-4 cars, that's where business time started. And he got to Joey, and they had a good race going, and he kind of watch. Hogue is sneaky. Hogue is very stealth. And he watched what Joey was doing and learned. And last lap, white flag. In between the flag stand and turn 1, he threw that car. I mean, he threw it in. He threw that car in sideways, dive bombed into turn 1, got under Joey, and it was a race for the third on the last lap. And coming to the checkered flag, Hogue got there first. That was, to me, was the most exciting thing that happened during that whole race. It was awesome.
It was crazy. And I will tell you, because I was down with the fans. You know, I haven't been in racing very long. Everybody knows that. 5 years, maybe. I have never seen the fans so darned excited and jumping and yelling and screaming.
And why is that? When you've got two of the best in the area, the Western United States, and they're racing side by side, if you don't get excited about that, you're dead.
Well, I tell you what. Fans came down just to see Joey Tanner.
Absolutely.
He has got an incredibly
huge fan base.
Huge here in the Valley. And they've traveled down there to watch him. And it was so exciting. But that was the race where the fans just went absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. I was right in the middle of it going, right on, you guys. That's what this is all about, is putting on a show. And, of course, you know, it helped the song. Did you notice what Corey played right before the late model race started? The fans went crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It was really good.
The Crazy Train song. Joey says he passed me on the bottom because I went up. Joey did move up a little bit.
He did.
Bobby saw that and dove in there.
Took advantage of that.
But as far as the top 5 on the bottom, I watched Trent Elliott and Rob Maya run the top for several laps. I watched them get up there. Trent spent most of the time on the bottom. I can't argue with that because he found out that car worked really good down there, and he wasn't going to let anybody take that bottom line and pass him.
Right.
And we watched, you know, early in the race, he was up there. So was Rob Maya and a couple other cars. But I would never, ever call that track one lane. I would call it an awesome race is what I saw.
It was excellent. Best race of the year.
For late models, yes. That was a fantastic race. But I wish we had that kind of talent together every single week. I mean, that is what it's all about. I get jacked up for that stuff.
Could you imagine the show every week? It would never get old.
Oh, absolutely not.
Never get old.
See, and Joey's right here. Joey says it was still fun, though, with no excuses. You know, I'll tell you something right now. A top 5 in that, I don't care if there was 26 cars, only 16 started the feature, a top 5 against that field.
Crazy, incredible.
I'd say it's an accomplishment. That is nothing to be disappointed about.
Not at all.
A win, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, does not matter. The top 5 in that finishing field. That says a lot about you as a driver and your program. Because that right there, I mean, 90% of the best drivers on the West Coast were there. There were a few I thought should have been there that are back east that couldn't be there. And a couple other guys that I thought should have, but it's a long tow. It's no excuse. Several other guys made long tows. I thought they should have been there, but I'm telling you right now, 90% of the best drivers on the West Coast were there, and the fans, man, they got a show. The fans got a show. I was pumped about that. I'm looking forward to next year's edition. I don't know about that, Mike Patterson. I'm trying to talk him into going, but so he says, Mike Patterson, our California correspondent at Bakersfield, says, Joey, you're talented beyond your years. There's no doubt about that. You're not one to make excuses. You win some, you lose some. You learn some. I look forward to seeing you down in South in October. Well, Joey, he's talking about the Budweiser Nationals. Are you going to be there?
Oh, man. The best was when he and Clay Daly were neck and neck, and they both, I think it was, they had 1 or 2 laps to go?
4.
4 laps to go? Okay. And they kind of got hooked up together, and neither one of them were able to finish the race, but it was, man, that was a good race.
That was one of the better late model races I've seen in a long time because there was guys, and Joey was one of them, that were passing on what we would call a one-lane track. slicker than anything you've ever seen in your life, and it took talent to get around that field. And Joey passed some cars to get to the leader.
There.
Joey passed some cars, and Daly at one point looked like, I got this locked up. Then the 111 broke out. This is 2 years ago down at Bud Nationals. And both these guys were really good on opposite ends of the racetrack. Joey made a move where he was good. Daly knew it was going to happen. He was trying to protect his line. Joey was trying to get there. Contact was made in a battle for the lead with 4 laps to go. Both those cars were
taken out. Basically.
Taken out.
Yeah.
And Nick Bartels, who sat back in third place watching it all, slid on by and went to victory. But that that race with those guys, man, the fans were loving that stuff. I hope we get to see it again. Not that. I hope we get to see that caliber.
No, basically, what we're saying is Joey really needs to go down to Southern California.
See, that was a one-lane track. Now, that's what Joey, that was a one-lane track, and you were passing guys on that track, high side and low side. That is a one-lane track. And Joey was making his way through the field and got to the leader, was challenging for the win. Unfortunately, things didn't work out. I would love to see Joey Tanner back down at the Budweiser Nationals because I think that's where you see a driver get tested both nights. And I'm not talking just about the competition. I'm talking about the racetrack. I've said it a million times on this show, and I'll probably say it a million more. That is the most unique, tricky surface of any track I've ever seen in this country, especially on a 2-day show. Night number 1, it's just like Southern Oregon was for the Cottonwood Classic. Hammered down, locked down, badass fast, and it's all about horsepower and having a set to get that car into the corners. Night number 2, they're going to qualify 2.5 seconds off the pace. It's going to be super, super slick top to bottom, and we're going to find out who can drive the car. Now, where anybody can be fast on a hooked-up track. We know this. We've talked about it. We had the poll a couple of weeks ago on Moxie Media Promotions. Anybody and everybody is fast on a hooked-up, lockdown track. When it gets dry and it's slick, and that's where talent prevails. That is where real talent in a stock car prevails. And Joey, I'll tell you right now, along with that, I could name several guys right now, but Joey's one of the best at that. I want to see him down there in October. We'll see if we can't get him down there, or I would love to see him down there. Mike Patterson's, I'll tell you right now, if Joey shows up, my pick for night 2. Night 1 is usually hooked up track and is a draw.
Yeah.
But right there, he says night number, that's the money night. That's the big money night. Night 2 at the Bud Nationals pays more than night number 1. And right there, the guy that's there every single week throughout the racing season, their racing season is 3 months longer than ours. The guy that's there every single week is saying right now, if he shows up, he's the favorite to win. That right there will say a lot.
That says something right there.
And you know what? I can't argue with Mike Patterson on that. I've seen what Joey does. We all seen. But we've also seen what Clay Daly does down there, and we've seen what Nick Bartels does, and Bobby Hogue, and Papich, and Toast. And this is why I want our guys, our cream of the crop guys down there. And when I say that, I do it every year. I call these guys incessantly. I'm talking, let's get you down to the Bud Nationals. And some of them don't go. It's a long ways. I get it. It's a 16-hour tow. But for me, you got to look past that. You got to look past the tow and you want to be the best. Like Ric Flair said, you got to beat the best. If you get all the best together in one spot, I don't care if it's at a track you're not at all the time. Talent prevails, period. I don't care where you're at, what size of track, what the weather conditions are, what the track conditions are. Talent will prevail. Trevor Glaser's won it. Jeremy Shank's gone down there and ran very, very well. Bryson James did it. Colin Weinbarger's won in a modified down there. Gray Ferrando's in a modified. He's competitive down there. We've seen Joey Tanner nearly walk out of there with a guitar at the Budweiser Nationals. Oregon guys show up and represent very well. But talent prevails. I know it's not their home track, and they got that against them. I can't argue with that. But this is what I look forward to. This is hands down probably my favorite event of the year is the Budweiser Nationals. And I'm already recruiting guys, and it's a month. I'm getting off track here, but
Joey would have won that race. Joey would have taken that from Clay Daly.
Would he? Would he?
Yeah, I think.
How do we know?
Well, of course we don't know that, but that's my. Hey.
That's your opinion. You're entitled to have it.
And he would have. That's the correct opinion too. No, he would have. That move that he made was just, oh man, it just didn't go his way. didn't